It's Tuesday and time for another art journal page, and today I'm going to keep it real because I know that you like it so much. So I'm going to show you how I get inspiration, how I started to create just one page and then changed my mind completely, ended up with 2 pages. But let's see first how I got the inspiration. So this is the new junk journal from the latest collection by Stamperia. This is actually a collection designed by Christina. It's an older collection, but they just came up with a new junk journal booklet. So I did make one of those mini short videos that I will be sharing probably tomorrow. But for the video today, I wanted to create something quick and simple because I didn't have much time. I just came back from a family trip. So anyway, I decided let's just quickly put something together, and I decided to start with pattern paper. So what I'm going to do is to just cut out a piece of paper which is going to be my background. My art journal page that I'm working on is 6 by 6 inches. So, and that's the cover. So the pages inside are slightly smaller. For the paper, I decided to go 5.5 by 5.5, which is going to give me a background to work on, but at the same time it adds a tiny little border all around, kind of looking like a card. Now, the truth is that whatever I'm doing today could be a 6 by 6 card. So just follow the steps. If you are not into mixed media so much, you can definitely turn this into a card. Anyway, I just cut this out. I'm going to stick it down with glue. And just because I want to add some interest, I'm just roughing up the edges with my scissors. Now, today I was going for something quick, and that's why I'm not creating my own background. Some people say it's cheating. I'm saying that no, it's not. Do whatever you like on your journals. Start with acrylic paint, start with sprays, start with a rice paper if you like, or even with pattern paper, which is a great use of all those background papers that we hoard. And not all days we have the same time to spend for a journal page, but if you want to still be creative and do something, it's not cheating, just use pattern paper, it's super fun, plus the design is so wonderful. Now I'm going to show you what I like to do to make it more my own and make it look more artistic. I always go with white acrylic paint, just add a little bit on your glass mat. You can either use a brush or you can use a spatula. Here I'm going with a spatula, and you can see I'm going in different directions, left to right, top to bottom, or I'm just dabbing color with my spatula, trying not to have anything perfect. I'm not trying to cover up the background. However, it creates lighter and darker areas and kind of creates, makes the paper as if I did lots of techniques back there, which I did nothing obviously. So since I do have that acrylic paint on my glass mat, I'm going to dilute a little bit with water and add some splatters here and there. I feel like having the white areas and the white splatters kind of brings all the elements together. And notice that how I started with a very busy background, loads of designs and colors were going on, but by adding that wash of color, of white color, I kind of knocked the designs back, and it is ready to accept a focal point on top, and hopefully it is going to stand out. So here I'm going for another one of my go-to techniques. I'm using a stamp, and I'm stamping with black permanent ink. I'm using one of those text stamps that are long and create borders. I always like to do that. And you see, I started with an acrylic block, but I always end up using just my fingers because I can control better exactly where I want to stamp, and I don't get the perfect impression. I'm switching stamps now. I'm using another one which is full of text, And by the way, I'm using one of my background stamps, the one that I designed for Secret Diary. I know that it is mostly sold out, but anyway, I'm sure you all have some background stamps that you can use. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some stenciling. For that I'm using this stencil, which is it is again from the same collection and it is still available. And I'm going to apply on top volume paste with my spatula. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to stick the focal points at this stage. I'm just adding some texture, visual texture and interest on the background. And I love the fact that it is white, the paste, because it doesn't add any extra busyness on the background, but you can definitely go with silver or even gold for this color combination. Now I left the volume paste to dry and I'm back to my junk journal popping out images. I was in love with this girl and the horse and I think it would make a great focal point on a card as well as on an art journal. But you see that once I place it on top of my journal, I felt that it didn't pop at all. So I'm thinking, okay, let's bring something extra for the background. So I thought this would look great because look how the girl and the horse pops against the sea. So I'm going to cut out this tag and I will go just all around the border, making sure that I cut it out nicely. But then I thought, okay, this is not very clever because I'm pretty much going to cover up most of my background. This is quite big. So completely changing my mind here. I'm leaving those two elements on the side and I'm looking for other elements to create a cluster. So I'm going with that boy that is reading a book, then I'm picking a quote for my project, then I will go and bring other elements to create my cluster with. So I just fuzzy cut those from the booklet again and I'm roughing up the edges. I'm also going to turn some corners to make it look more interesting. This is not going to end up a super flat art journal, one that I tend to completely stick everything down and cover with my matte medium. This is going to have some texture. So I am going to decide how this is going to look better and you can see how nicely he pops against the background. I want to introduce something different, like a different texture. So here I am using medical gauze. Just cut out a little piece. I'm going to make sure that I just manipulate it so that I have some threads coming all over the place. Don't overthink the placement of the gauze. It really is super easy to manipulate and it always adds that extra something without overwhelming the composition or making it look too busy. So here I'm just sticking down the two pieces and then I am going to ink up the edges always just to make sure that they don't look white all around. I want to have the same look for all my elements. I'm going to do that for the boy as well. And the fun part about these pop-out images from that booklet is that they are printed front and back. So it is really easy to use them on clusters in any way that they work better for you. So a little bit of glue at the back. I'm just placing my medical gauze on top and then the bow is going to go on top of that. Now I always add glue at the center of my elements. This way if I need to tuck things underneath, I'm always able to do that, which is something that I will do in a bit. Now here I'm trying to use this Waves of Serenity quote and I'm changing my mind again. And I'm thinking, no, this is too long for the composition. It doesn't look too balanced. And I decided to go with a blue one that says find yourself. And I think it matches more with the guy who's reading the book. Again, inking up the edges. And I'm going to leave the other quote on the side. I will use it in a bit. So again, glue at the back, just stick it there, and I think the composition looks really nice. I just need to add some fillers. So in terms of composition, I always like to find the big focal point, and I'm starting from bigger elements and then go into using smaller and smaller ones. So you see here I started with a boy. I decided to place him on top of some pages to kind of create the base for the composition, and now I'm using smaller elements to dress him up, to fill up some gaps. Now also notice that here I'm bringing some red elements, and since I added one on one corner, I'm going to add another red element on the other corner to kind of bring it together. So in terms of composition, just try to find the bigger focal point and then find smaller ones to dress it up here and there. It's really difficult to create a balanced composition, but trust me, this comes with exercise. The more you create, the easier it gets to end up with something pleasing to the eyes. Now I'm going to my finishing touches here. I'm using my black fine pen, and I'm adding some sketchy lines here and there. Not everywhere. Here I'm switching to my white gel pen and adding some highlights. And again, just sketchy lines, which is going to bring all the little details into life to make it look more coherent, as everything has the same details. Now, my final step is always to add some white splatters. And here I'm testing out a new product, which is the Splatter medium. I am going to use my very fine brush to make sure that I don't end up with big blobs. Super easy to use this product, and I love that it stands against the background. Plus it's already liquid. All you need to do is just dip the brush in there and you are good to go. So this is the page that I made, and that's where I thought, okay, I'm done for today. But then I had these two elements that I have cut out from what I was thinking in the beginning, and I said, no, let's make one more page really quickly. Let's put that together so these two elements don't go to waste. So I'm going to follow the exact same process that I did for my first page, and I'm going to create another one really quickly. So yes, trust the process, follow these steps, and let me know if it worked for you. You don't really need to have a junk journal to do that. Just use pattern paper, cut out 5.5 by 5.5, fuzzy cut some elements to create your composition, and you're good to go. So here again, I'm going to go around the edges to create some interesting border. I'm even going to create some notches here, and turn them curl them up with my tweezers. And I'm going to use my glue to stick that paper down. Now, the funny part is that I started to film this video for creating something quick and simple because I was thinking I don't have enough time. Ended up sharing 2 pages for you guys, but I had so much fun, and really it is a super easy project to put together. Now here I'm doing a variation of adding the white at the back. For the first page, I went with spatula. For this page, I'm going with a rough, stiff brush. This brush is completely dry, so I'm not transferring any moisture on my paper. I'm just adding brush strokes here and there. I'm going to make sure that this is completely dry. And again, trust the process, use some stamping at the background. I'm using again my black permanent ink, but again, you don't really need to have that vibrancy on your background. If you want to have it more subtle, you can use brown, for example, or blue for this color combination. I'm going to repeat what I did for the first page just to show you that if you trust the process, everything is going to be okay. So again, I'm bringing in one more stamp, and I'm going to stamp here and there. Now here I have a rough idea of what I'm going to stick and where. So I am going to also bring my stencil and do some stenciling, since I do have that stencil on my table. I'm not going to reach for another one. I'm just using the same one with white volume paste. So here you see I am staying mainly on the right area of my page, and that's because I already know what the focal point is going to be and where I'm planning to stick it. So this is not the case with most of my journal pages, but anyway. Now here I'm inking up that tag that I cut out, but again it feels super big. I want to make it smaller somehow. How am I going to make it smaller? I'm just trying to think here. And then I became super creative. So what I'm going to do is to use my scissors and cut along the horizon. I feel like this is the only way that you can make it shorter without anyone ever know. So I'm just separating those two pieces and I'm going to glue them back together. But you see, by just sticking them closer, it's going to be shorter. And at the same time, I get to keep that lovely rope all around, the lovely border, because if I was to cut out at the bottom or at the top, I would have lost either a part of the sand, which I didn't want to, or a part at the top from that little border. So you see, now it looks as if it was like that from the beginning. I'm going to stick it down, and I don't mind if I cover a lot of what is going on in the background, because here the background was super simple and not many things were going on back there. I'm inking up the girl with the horse and I'm going to stick her down. And just like I did for the first page, I'm adding a little bit of that gauze, so that although these projects are actually different pages, they are coherent. First of all, they are from the same collection, so the colors are very similar. Then they are following the same techniques, so even though they are not the same actual project, having them next to each other look just fine. So now I have that Waves of Serenity that I was thinking to use on the first page. Now I can use them here because I feel like it would work just fine. I'm just, however, need shorter words, so I always like to cut them. I am going to ink them up, stick them down, and then you already know what's left. I need to do a little bit of doodling with my black pen, my white pen, and I'm going to finish it off by adding some splatters. And you can definitely turn these designs into 6x6 cards. You can eliminate the mixed media steps like the splattering, the volume paste, or even the white at the background. And here is what happens when you start with an idea, completely change plans, and then go back to the idea and make a second page. Now, I hope that you had fun today, that you got inspired. The links to everything I used can be found down below in the description, along with coupon codes. Here are some close-up photos. And thank you all so much for the likes and the support down below in the comments. See you next time.